Right, something different. We are here in beautiful Matamata on the North Island, and I'm catching up with a very familiar face, Mark Purdon. Hello.
Hi, Paul.
Quite a unique day today here at Matamata. I tried to work him back on the track again for the first time for a while. Unfortunately, not officially the first horse to work on the track. We found that out when we were heading across there, but something different for you.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, and very lucky, to have the amenities they've got over here and be able to use them.
Hats off to the club, and I was there with the track curator, and basically they were saying they'll do anything they can to help facilitate you to work the horses, including you just ran the grade or whatever they call it, the track conditioner around, so you had somewhere smooth to work.
Yeah, no, they'll be more than accommodating, and I'm very, very lucky. The gallopers will finish at 9:30, and Graham had said if you come on the track around about 10, 10:15, we'll have it levelled off for you and fluffed up, and they had it beautiful out there today. Yeah,
I think when it's wet and that, it mightn't be as good, but the weather just seems to be beautiful one day and better the next here in New Zealand. I don't know why everyone complains about it, but it is lovely. How is he?
He's really good. He's had a good break, and first time back in the cart today, and on his way back to the racetrack as well as the breeding barn. So it's a exciting season for him.
You said that's probably the next army will stand at stud this year, but will race as well. So he's, I suppose the best way of putting it, his semen's available if people would like to.
Yeah, that's right. He's such a lovely stallion that I don't think it'll change his...
what we're talking about.
Yeah. I don't think it'll change his temperament, and that's the reason I'm comfortable doing this with him. But so the best of both worlds.
The Europeans do it a lot, and you've spent a bit of time over there from time to time, and it doesn't seem to affect them, does it?
No, it doesn't. No.
Whose property are we at? Best make sure we give the gentleman here a bit of a wrap.
Yeah, Glenn Old's the name of the guy that owns this. It was set up by Roger James, who's a very good trainer originally, and then Glenn came along and bought it when Roger moved on to something bigger or better. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful place, isn't it? Got a good feel where this barn's like a courtyard. Doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing, you're protected. The horses seem relaxed, although a couple of the thoroughbreds had a funny couple of snorts when we put the card on. They were all happy with everything else, and then when we put the card on, there was a couple of snorts. They weren't sure, but it is a beautiful place to train them. And you've got a couple of thoroughbreds here as well that you're working in conjunction with him.
Yes, that's right. We've got 4 thoroughbreds here, so I'm enjoying just watching their progress and how he's training them. That's exciting, and just having this is just really fills in my day, makes it a really enjoyable time.
I got here early and went down and watched the thoroughbreds working. Will he kick me? He won't kick me. He might kick us. He will come half a stride closer. How many thoroughbreds do they work?
On the track?
Yeah.
There's 400 worked on the track, and it's quite amazing just watching them. It just runs like clockwork. It's really well organised.
They walk on left and right sides of the lanes. They know which side to walk. It is different. It was a big eye-opener for me. A bit fresh, but it was a very big eye-opener for me, and a beautiful place to work the horses. Nike's coming. We'll touch on her for a sec. She's coming later today, so you'll be working the 2 horses. How is she?
All reports are good on the tendon. She's been with Brian and Leslie Court down in Christchurch on the water walker and the treadmill. Lindsay Coles scanned the leg and said it looks amazing. So... so fingers crossed.
It keeps us honest. Now that he's that side, we're okay. What are your main goals? One, I suppose, just to get her back to the races, but I know the New Zealand Trotting Cup's been mentioned and new stakes increased, so that would be nice as well. But is that the main goal for her, or is it just purely, firstly, get her back to the racetrack?
It'll be purely first to get her back to the race day and let her tell us when she's ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, because I think she's great for the industry. I think we forget about so many of our good horses and where they're at, and I suppose how they progress. And we have horses like Just Believes and those, but she's a champion. I was just saying to the guys out there, I think I saw her when she'd won a 6th or 7th race, and you're a very reserved man at the best of times, but you did give her a bit of a rap, and I was like, geez, that's a big rap from Mark, but it was justified.
Yes, I know she is. She's a special mare now, and she's just one in a very few.
What is the progression, I suppose, for Mark Purdon now? You've moved up here. Obviously, wind back a little bit. 2 horses is winding back, or 4. But you said to me there before, you are still keeping across everything with Nathan, and you're going to probably try and get back there once a week for a month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and just in a transition period, and hopefully it all goes well. But keeping my finger on the pulse and being involved in their preparations.
It's a funny old horse. You got to watch him.
Yeah.
Will you continue to race drive when you're back there, or I imagine you'll keep the drive on Oscar, and you'd be pretty hard to get off the other mare as well, I'd imagine.
Yes, well, I'll certainly drive those two, and I think Blair Orange will probably do most of the driving at home base. So and we'll see what unfolds.
Yeah, and go from there. Nate's got, 30 horses in work, so it's still all systems go with him as well. So going to make it interesting. I think, is the property sold, or there will be the transition period sometimes in the future with the property?
The property is sold, so we've got 2 years there.
Yep.
We'll be sort of looking for something to set up in time, but we'll have our finger on the pulse and just see what comes up, but we want to be on the ball too.
You've got plenty of time, but as you said, 2 years can roll around very, very quickly, but and you're still going to be involved with Nathan, beyond that 2 year period as well, I would imagine.
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah,
and go from there. Recent announcements last Friday, and there's going to be some more announcements this Friday up here for the North Island. I think not everything was disclosed the overnight, but from what you've seen so far, your thoughts on them?
Oh, very positive, and a boost I think we really needed, and just for the morale of people as well. Everyone was getting pretty down, and it's been very, very hard to make ends meet for a lot of the trainers. So, it's a significant increase like this. Hopefully everyone's got the same positive attitude about it and looking forward to it.
There's a couple of people out there been trying to be negative about it. I think if they stop and actually have a look at it, it's the single highest increase or stake injection ever, like in New Zealand harness racing. So I don't understand how you can't actually be positive about it. And it was interesting just talking to a couple of the trainers that coming up, if you like, through the ranks, and they're loving that it's at the top end, because they're now aspiring to try and get these horses and keep these horses and target these high-end races. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, whereas a lot were being moved, and now the incentive now and with the increase is to keep them.
Yeah.
So a lot of money being poured into Auckland, which I think is really good, and hopefully that attracts sort of a few from the South Island and boost their numbers up here. But we certainly don't want to see Auckland going bad. We want it to be strong.
And you're not just saying that because you're up here now. I think I think I've heard a few times you say that. And it's the biggest population in New Zealand, and we need to get more owners. People say there's no owners up there, but we need to get more owners. And if you're not racing, well, you're not going to get more owners.
No, that's right. And it's where the population is. So it's a matter of getting out and marketing yourself and attracting these new people into the industry. But whereas Dean's come along with a different mindset now, and he he's of the opinion that Auckland's got to succeed, and whereas prior to that it was going backwards, and I didn't know where it was going to end up here.
Yeah, and I think Dean's been around long enough to realise too, and I say this to a lot of people, I don't know whether it was the right move or not to get out of Moonee Valley and move out to Melton, but I think sometimes once you move, people might say, well, you can get the money, but it's not always beer and Skittles, if you like. Once you do that, like there's so many other sides to it. Where it is positioned, you've got the opportunity of getting big crowds to Friday night racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they've got all the amenities there at Auckland, and so for the people. So. So that's like Moonee Valley. They had all the amenities there to get big crowds, but they didn't sort of put that in for Melton. So,
I don't like saying this to you. You've been around for a little while. Do you enjoy the direction the sport is heading now? You've seen probably lots of highs and lows. You would have seen the $1 million New Zealand Trotting Cups, 9-10 years ago, and then the stake money decreased. But do you enjoy it, and are you confident we're heading in the right direction?
Yeah, well, it's been my life, and you like to see it do well, and especially for the ones like even Nathan and Michael, my sons, coming through, and other young guys that are trying to get ahead. The game's been good to me, and that, but you like to see the young ones coming through succeed and do well in it like I've done. So it's been my life, so I'd like to see it continue. Yeah, and it is, and so many people have got family invested in it. You said there before about Blair, like Harrison's up here. There are so many young kids that are invested in this sport. We need it to prosper, just so that they can bring their kids up and put them through that if that's what they want to do, but they at least give them an option instead of saying, well, there's definitely no money in it, so you're not doing it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Yeah, no, this injection's really, lifted the morale of all the trainers, I think.
All right, mate, thank you. You'll continue to get a few strange looks, I reckon, for a few days. But it was pretty cool. A couple of the ladies cleaning up the stables and that they come over to say hello. And you were saying to me before you might need to find someone to do some track work. The first lady you saw, she says, "I'll come and do some track work for you." So it's going to be a very interesting ride here. But again, the flip side of that too, I think people need to embrace what you are doing, because you're going to put harness racing back in a lot of these people's minds anyway. Like, they're going to see you work and they're going to say, well, I might go to Cambridge, I might go to Auckland. If Nike or Oscar are both racing, they might turn around and say, well, we're going to go down to the Trotton Cup in Addington and punt, and that's what we want. We need more dollars in punting. We need more bums on seats at race meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know when Dad and Barry were in partnership in earlier years, Ray Werner was a part of the ownership, and so was Colin Gillings and Bob Ross and Dave O'Sullivan and Lance O'Sullivan and Paul. So there was a number of galloping people involved, and probably haven't been now for some years, but I'm sure this will spark their enthusiasm.
No, absolutely, Mark. Thank you. Thanks, Oscar, for not giving us one. That was very nice of you. But well done, and good luck on the next journey. Hopefully I'll catch up with you New Zealand Trotting Cup Day or something like that when you got them both in.
Yeah, sure will.
Thank you.
Good.